The morning air on Kepler 442c smelled like metal and flowers. Dr. Sarah Chen walked through the tall purple grass, her scanner beeping softly as it recorded new plant life. She had been a scientist for 12 years, but this planet still amazed her. Everything here was different from Earth, yet somehow familiar. Her team was supposed to meet her at the old crater in 2 hours. They were studying the rocks there, looking for signs of ancient life. Sarah wanted to check the forest first. She had seen strange markings on the trees yesterday and needed to take samples. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. Sarah noticed that the small bird-like creatures that usually sang in the trees had gone silent. She stopped walking and listened carefully. Nothing. Even the wind had stopped. Something moved behind her. Sarah turned around quickly but saw only trees. Her heart started beating faster. She reached for her communication device to call her team. The screen showed no signal. That was impossible. The communicators worked everywhere on this planet. A branch snapped to her left, then another one to her right. Sarah realized she was being surrounded. She grabbed her emergency beacon and pressed the button. A small red light blinked, showing it was working. Help would come, but it might take hours. She started walking toward the crater where her team was working. Every few minutes, she heard sounds in the forest around her. Footsteps that were too heavy to be from the local animals. Sometimes she saw shadows moving between the trees, but when she looked directly, nothing was there. After an hour of walking, Sarah found a good hiding spot behind some large rocks. She set up her portable scanner to record everything around her. If something was hunting her, she wanted proof. The device started recording immediately. That was when she first saw them. They were tall, maybe 8 feet high, with dark skin that seemed to change color like a chameleon. They moved without making any sound, which explained why she could barely hear them. Their eyes were large and silver, and they carried weapons that looked like nothing she had ever seen. There were 3 of them, and they were clearly hunting her. They moved in a pattern, always keeping her surrounded but never getting too close. One of them pointed a device at her hiding spot and made clicking sounds. The others responded with similar clicks. Sarah understood with growing horror that this was a game to them. They could have caught her already if they wanted to. Instead, they were playing with her like a cat plays with a mouse before killing it. She waited until they moved away, then quickly ran to another hiding spot. Her scanner had recorded everything. She connected it to her emergency transmitter and began uploading the data. It would take time to send everything, but at least Earth would know what happened to her. The aliens found her new hiding spot within an hour. This time she could see them clearly as they watched her from the trees. One of them held up a device that looked like a camera. They were recording her fear. Sarah realized these creatures had been watching humans for a long time. They knew exactly how to hunt people. They understood human behavior, human weaknesses, and human fears. This was not their first time hunting someone like her. She began to fight back the only way she knew how. As a scientist, she understood this planet better than they did. She knew which plants were poisonous and which animals were dangerous. She knew where the ground was soft and where the cliffs were steep. Sarah started leaving traps. She tied poisonous vines across paths where the aliens might walk. She disturbed a nest of aggressive flying insects near one of their favorite watching spots. She even managed to start a small landslide that forced them to find a new route around the mountains. The aliens seemed surprised by her resistance. They began hunting her more carefully, which gave her more time to plan. She found a cave system that the local animals used for shelter. The aliens were too big to follow her into the smaller tunnels. From her hiding spot in the caves, Sarah continued uploading data to her transmitter. She recorded everything she learned about the aliens. Their technology, their hunting patterns, their weaknesses. She even managed to record some of their language. Days passed. The aliens became more aggressive. They used new tools to try to force her out of the caves. They made loud noises to scare her. They set fires at the cave entrances. But Sarah had found a water source inside the caves and had gathered enough food to last for weeks. She realized that the hunt was being broadcast somehow. The aliens often pointed their recording devices at her, and sometimes she heard what sounded like cheering or applause coming from their communication equipment. Somewhere other aliens were watching her struggle for entertainment. This made Sarah even more determined to survive. She began planning ways to hurt her hunters. She studied their patterns and found their weaknesses. They were overconfident and relied too much on their technology. They did not expect their prey to fight back intelligently. One night, Sarah managed to steal one of their communication devices while they slept. She could not understand their language, but she could access their data files. What she found made her feel sick. There were thousands of files, videos of humans being hunted on different planets, men, women, and even children, all of them running, hiding, and eventually dying for the entertainment of alien audiences. The files went back for many years, maybe decades. Sarah had found proof that humanity was being hunted across the galaxy by these creatures. They were not just random predators. They were organized, systematic killers who treated human beings like animals in a hunting preserve. She updated her transmission with this new information and sent it toward Earth. The message would take months to arrive, but she included everything. The location of the alien homeworld, their technology specifications, their hunting methods, and proof of their crimes against humanity. As she sent the final data burst, Sarah heard the aliens approaching her cave. They had found her latest hiding spot. She grabbed her remaining supplies and moved deeper into the cave system. But she knew they would eventually corner her. At least Earth would know the truth. Somewhere in space, her message was traveling toward home, carrying evidence of humanity's greatest enemy. Sarah Chen, a simple scientist who just wanted to study plants, had accidentally discovered a conspiracy that threatened the entire human race. The aliens were getting closer. Sarah could hear their clicking sounds echoing through the caves. She checked her scanner one more time to make sure all the data had been sent. The transmission was complete. Now all she could do was survive as long as possible and hope that someone would listen to her message when it reached Earth. She moved deeper into the darkness, carrying the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders. Behind her, the clicking sounds grew louder as her hunters closed in for the final part of their deadly game. The message arrived at Earth's deep space communication array on a cold Tuesday morning. Dr. James Wright was drinking his third cup of coffee when the computer started beeping loudly. The signal was weak and broken, coming from the outer edge of human space. At first, James thought it was just space noise. The computers picked up random signals all the time. But this one was different. It had the right encryption code. It was from a human source. James called his supervisor, Director Helen Martinez. She came running when she heard where the signal was coming from. Kepler 442c. Dr. Sarah Chen's research team had been missing from that planet for 3 months. Everyone assumed they were dead. The data download took 6 hours. The signal was damaged from traveling so far and many parts were missing. But what they could recover made both scientists feel sick. Video files showing Sarah running through a forest, audio recordings of strange clicking sounds, and worst of all, files that looked like they came from alien computers. Director Martinez called Admiral Marcus Rodriguez immediately. The Admiral ran the United Earth Defense Force and he needed to see this right away. Within an hour, the three of them were sitting in a secure room, watching Sarah's final recordings. The first video showed Sarah hiding behind rocks, while tall, dark creatures moved around her. The aliens carried advanced weapons and moved like professional hunters. They were clearly toying with her, making the hunt last longer for their entertainment. But the most horrifying discovery came from the stolen alien files. Thousands of videos showing humans being hunted on different planets. The files were organized by date, location, and type of prey. Men, women, children, scientists, soldiers, farmers. All of them had been killed for sport. Admiral Rodriguez watched the files in silence for hours. His face grew darker with each video. These aliens had been hunting humans for decades, maybe longer. They had been treating the human race like animals in a zoo. The stolen data also contained maps showing alien hunting grounds throughout human space, planets where human colonies had mysteriously disappeared, ships that had vanished without a trace. All of it now made terrible sense. Dr. Wright found technical specifications for alien weapons and ships in the data. The aliens were more advanced than humans in many ways, but their technology was not impossible to understand. Sarah had somehow managed to copy detailed information about their equipment. Most importantly, the files contained the location of the alien homeworld, a planet called Vorthak Prime, located about 200 light-years from Earth. The files showed it was heavily populated and well-defended, but now humanity knew where their enemy lived. Admiral Rodriguez called an emergency meeting of the Defense Council. The 5 most powerful military leaders in human space gathered in the secure conference room. The Admiral showed them everything: The videos, the files, the evidence of decades of alien hunting. The room was completely silent when the presentation ended. General Patricia Williams spoke first. She commanded the Colonial Defense Forces and had lost several ships in the outer territories. Now she knew what had happened to them. "How many of our people have they killed?" she asked quietly. Dr. Wright had been analyzing the data all day. "Based on the files we recovered, at least 50,000 humans over the past 30 years. Probably more. These are just the hunts they recorded for entertainment." The number hit everyone like a physical blow. 50,000 people. Men and women who had joined colonial expeditions to build new homes among the stars. Families who had simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time. All of them killed for the amusement of alien audiences. Admiral Rodriguez stood up slowly. "This ends now. We are going to find every one of these creatures and make them pay for what they have done." The next few days were a blur of activity. Scientists worked around the clock to understand alien technology. Engineers began designing new weapons based on the stolen specifications. Military planners mapped out attack routes to known alien hunting grounds. But first, they needed to save any humans who might still be alive on alien worlds. The stolen files showed several active hunting preserves where humans were being kept like animals, before being released for sport. Rescue missions were planned for every location. The hardest part was keeping the information secret. If news of the alien hunting operations became public, there would be panic throughout human space. Families would demand to know if their missing relatives had been hunted for sport. Colonial expeditions would stop completely. Admiral Rodriguez decided to tell only the military commanders and key scientists. Everyone else would be told that new alien threats had been discovered and that increased security measures were necessary. Production facilities across human space began working at maximum capacity. New ships, new weapons, new defensive systems. Everything was being built as quickly as possible. The Admiral wanted humanity to be ready for war within 6 months. The most talented computer experts were brought in to study the alien communication systems. If humans could break their codes, it would be possible to intercept alien messages and track their movements. It might even be possible to locate hunting parties before they attacked human colonies. Dr. Martinez led a team of xenobiologists in studying everything known about alien biology. The stolen files contained medical information about the creatures, including their weaknesses and vulnerabilities. If humanity was going to fight these aliens, they needed to know how to hurt them. Meanwhile, deep space reconnaissance missions were launched toward known alien territories. Small, fast ships equipped with the best sensors available were sent to gather intelligence. Many of these missions would be one-way trips, but the information they gathered would be critical for planning larger attacks. Admiral Rodriguez spent his days in strategy meetings and his nights reading Sarah Chen's final messages. She had been a botanist, not a soldier, but she had managed to gather more useful intelligence than most military units could have collected. Her courage and intelligence had given humanity its first real chance to fight back. 3 months after receiving Sarah's message, the first rescue mission was launched. A small fleet of ships headed toward a planet where the aliens were keeping human prisoners. It would be humanity's first direct confrontation with their tormentors. The Admiral stood on the command deck of the flagship, watching the stars disappear into hyperspace. Somewhere out there, Sarah Chen was probably dead, but her sacrifice had not been meaningless. She had given humanity the tools it needed to fight back. As the ship traveled toward enemy territory, Admiral Rodriguez made a silent promise. Every alien who had participated in hunting humans would pay the price. Every world that had hosted these terrible games would be made to regret it. The hunt was about to begin, but this time humanity would be the predators. Captain Elena Vasquez checked her weapon one last time before giving the signal to attack. Her ship, the UES Retribution, floated silently in space above the alien hunting complex on Kepler 739b. Through the viewing screen, she could see the buildings where humans were kept like animals before being released for sport. The attack began at exactly 0600 hours. 12 human ships dropped out of hyperspace around the alien facility. The aliens had never faced an organized military assault from their prey before. Their defensive systems were designed to keep humans from escaping, not to fight off a real army. Elena's Marines hit the ground hard and fast. They moved through the alien buildings with deadly efficiency, killing every alien they found. These creatures had shown no mercy to human prisoners, and now they would receive none in return. The first building contained holding cells where humans were kept before the hunts. Elena found 37 people inside, all of them in terrible condition. They had been starved and beaten to make them weaker prey. Some of them could barely stand. "Get them to the medical ships immediately," Elena ordered her sergeant. She wanted to stay and help the prisoners herself, but there were more buildings to clear and more aliens to kill. The second building was worse. It contained what the aliens called their trophy room. The walls were covered with human skulls, hands, and other body parts taken from successful hunts. Elena had seen many horrible things in her military career, but this made her stomach turn. Her soldiers found video equipment in the trophy room. The aliens had been broadcasting their hunts live to audiences across their empire. Thousands, maybe millions of aliens had watched humans being tortured and killed for entertainment. Elena destroyed everything in the trophy room with explosive charges. She wanted to make sure that these trophies could never be displayed again. The explosion lit up the alien complex and sent a message to any survivors that humanity was done being prey. The third building was where they kept the alien hunters when they were not actively pursuing human victims. Elena's team found 12 aliens inside, along with their advanced hunting equipment. The aliens tried to surrender, but Elena's orders were clear: no prisoners. The final building was the worst of all. It contained detailed records of every hunt that had taken place at this facility over the past 10 years. Hundreds of humans had been killed here, men, women, and children from across human space, all of them murdered for alien entertainment. Elena spent an hour reading through the records. Each file contained photos of the victim, details about their background, and video recordings of their death. The aliens had been very thorough in documenting their crimes. One file made Elena stop reading completely. It was about a family of colonists who had been captured 6 months ago. A mother, father, and 2 young children. The aliens had hunted them one by one, saving the children for last. The parents had been forced to watch their kids die before being killed themselves. Elena called Admiral Rodriguez on the secure communication channel. "Sir, we have secured the facility. 37 human prisoners rescued, all aliens eliminated. But Admiral, you need to see what we found here." The Admiral's voice came through clearly despite the distance. "What is it, Captain?" "Records, sir. Hundreds of detailed files about human victims. This is not just random killing. This is systematic extermination for entertainment. They have been studying us, learning our weaknesses, and using that knowledge to make us better prey." There was a long pause before the Admiral responded. "Copy all the files and bring them back to Earth. We need to understand exactly what we are dealing with." Elena's technical team worked for 6 hours copying alien databases. They found star charts showing other hunting facilities throughout the galaxy, communication logs revealing the locations of alien supply bases, even financial records showing how much aliens paid to participate in human hunts. The most valuable discovery was a complete map of the alien empire. The creatures called themselves the Vorthak, and they controlled almost 200 star systems. Their civilization was built around hunting and killing other species for sport. Humans were just their latest victims. While her team worked on copying files, Elena led a search for any remaining human prisoners. They found 3 more people in a hidden underground section. These prisoners had been kept for special hunts where the aliens used more advanced weapons and tactics. One of the rescued prisoners was Dr. Maria Santos, a xenobiologist who had been captured 8 months ago. She had managed to learn some of the alien language during her imprisonment and could translate parts of their communication systems. "They have been watching human colonies for decades," Dr. Santos told Elena. "They study each target for months before attacking. They know our military capabilities, our technology, even our psychology. That is why they have been so successful." Elena realized that humanity's surprise attack had only worked because the aliens had never expected their prey to fight back in an organized way. The Vorthak had become overconfident after decades of easy victories against defenseless humans. The rescue mission found evidence that similar attacks were happening on 7 other planets at the same time. Admiral Rodriguez had coordinated simultaneous strikes against every known alien hunting facility in human space. The goal was to rescue as many prisoners as possible while gathering intelligence about alien operations. As Elena's ships prepared to leave the alien facility, she ordered one final action: Every building in the complex was rigged with explosives and destroyed completely. She wanted to send a clear message to the Vorthak that their hunting games were over. The trip back to Earth took 2 weeks. During that time, Elena interviewed every rescued prisoner to learn more about alien tactics and technology. Many of them had been forced to participate in multiple hunts and had observed alien behavior closely. The information they provided was invaluable. The aliens relied heavily on their technological advantages and had never learned to fight against determined resistance. They were individually strong and fast, but they did not work well as a team. Most importantly, they were not prepared for enemies who fought back intelligently. When Elena's ships reached Earth, Admiral Rodriguez was waiting at the spaceport. The rescued prisoners were immediately taken to medical facilities for treatment, while the alien data was rushed to analysis teams. Every piece of information would be crucial for planning the next phase of humanity's response. Elena reported directly to the Admiral about what she had seen at the alien facility. The systematic torture, the trophy rooms, the detailed records of human victims, everything confirmed that the Vorthak viewed humans as nothing more than entertainment. "How many of our people do you think they have killed over the years?" the Admiral asked. Elena had been thinking about that question during the entire trip home. Based on the records we found and the size of their operation, probably hundreds of thousands. Maybe more. This has been going on for a very long time. Admiral Rodriguez nodded grimly. Then we know what we have to do. This is not just about stopping future attacks. This is about justice for everyone they have already killed. The successful rescue mission proved that humans could fight the Vorthak and win, but it also revealed the true scope of the alien threat. The hunting facilities were just the beginning. Somewhere in space, an entire empire built on murder and cruelty was waiting to be destroyed. General Patricia Williams watched the tactical display as human fleets moved through Vorthak space like a plague. 6 months had passed since the first rescue missions, and now humanity was fully committed to war. The aliens who had hunted humans for sport were learning what it meant to be prey. The war had changed both species, but humans had adapted faster. The Vorthak were used to hunting individuals or small groups. They had never faced an enemy that fought as a coordinated pack. Human military tactics, developed through centuries of warfare against other humans, proved devastatingly effective against aliens who relied on individual superiority. Human ships moved in wolf packs, attacking alien convoys and supply lines before disappearing into hyperspace. The Vorthak could not predict where the next attack would come from. Their empire, which had seemed so powerful when hunting defenseless humans, was crumbling under organized military pressure. General Williams had been studying alien psychology for months. The Vorthak were natural predators, but they were also cowards. When their victims could not fight back, they were brave and cruel. When faced with real resistance, they became confused and frightened. This weakness was being exploited by human psychological warfare specialists. They broadcast recordings of alien defeats across Vorthak communication networks. They sent messages describing the terrible deaths that awaited any alien who continued hunting humans. They even released videos of captured Vorthak being interrogated and executed. The psychological campaign was working. Alien morale was collapsing across their empire. Many Vorthak hunting parties had simply stopped operating, unwilling to risk encountering human military forces. Some alien worlds were even requesting peace negotiations, but Admiral Rodriguez had made it clear that there would be no peace talks. The Vorthak had shown no mercy when hunting humans, and they would receive none in return. The only acceptable outcome was the complete elimination of their species. This decision had not been made lightly. Human leaders had spent weeks debating the ethics of genocide, but the evidence of Vorthak crimes was overwhelming. They had systematically murdered hundreds of thousands of humans over decades. They had turned human suffering into entertainment for their entire civilization. More importantly, they could not be trusted to honor any peace agreement. The Vorthak were natural hunters. Even if they promised to stop hunting humans, they would probably just find other species to terrorize. The only way to ensure they could never hurt anyone again was to eliminate them completely. The war entered a new phase when human forces began targeting Vorthak civilian populations. It was a controversial decision, but military analysts argued that the entire alien species was complicit in the hunting operations. Vorthak children grew up watching humans being killed for entertainment. Their entire culture was built on murder and cruelty. Human weapons technology had advanced rapidly during the war. Engineers had reverse-engineered captured alien equipment and improved upon it. Human ships were now faster and more heavily armed than Vorthak vessels. Human soldiers carried weapons that could kill aliens instantly, while alien weapons were less effective against human armor. The turning point came during the Battle of Vorthak. Station 7. The aliens had concentrated their remaining military forces at this strategic location, hoping to stop the human advance. It was the largest space battle in galactic history, with over 1,000 ships on each side. General Williams commanded the human fleet from the flagship UES Vengeance. She had learned to think like a Vorthak, predicting their tactics and countering their strategies. When the aliens tried to use their superior individual ships to break human formations, she ordered her captains to swarm each alien vessel with multiple human ships. The battle lasted 18 hours. Human losses were heavy, but the Vorthak fleet was completely destroyed. General Williams watched as the last alien dreadnought exploded in a ball of fire. The Vorthak had lost their main military force and could no longer mount effective resistance against human attacks. After the battle, human forces began the systematic conquest of Vorthak worlds. Each planet was surrounded and bombarded until the aliens surrendered. Then human troops landed and began the process of eliminating every Vorthak on the planet. The aliens tried various tactics to save themselves. Some attempted to disguise themselves as other species. Others tried to hide in remote locations until the humans left. A few even tried to surrender and offer information about other species they had hunted. None of these tactics worked. Human technology could detect Vorthak genetic signatures from orbit. Every alien on every conquered world was found and eliminated. No exceptions were made for children or civilians. The human military had learned from the Vorthak that mercy was a weakness that could be exploited. As the war progressed, some human soldiers began to enjoy the killing too much. The brutality they had witnessed in alien hunting facilities had changed them. They took trophies from dead aliens and competed to see who could kill the most enemies. General Williams noticed this problem and tried to address it through military discipline and counseling. But she understood why it was happening. The soldiers had seen what the Vorthak did to human prisoners. They had watched videos of children being hunted for sport. It was natural for them to want revenge. The war also revealed new information about Vorthak history. Human scientists studying captured alien archives discovered that humans were not the first species the Vorthak had hunted to extinction. They had destroyed at least 12 other intelligent species over the past 1,000 years. Each extinct species had been studied, captured, and tortured for alien entertainment. The Vorthak had perfected their hunting techniques by practicing on different types of prey. They had even preserved some specimens in zoos for future hunting purposes. This discovery eliminated any remaining doubts about the necessity of genocide. The Vorthak were not just enemies of humanity. They were enemies of all intelligent life in the galaxy. Every species that had ever existed would be safer with the Vorthak eliminated completely. Human forces began moving toward the Vorthak homeworld. The alien capital was heavily defended and would require a massive assault to capture. But General Williams was confident that human forces could overcome any defense the aliens could mount. The Vorthak government sent a final peace proposal as human fleets approached their homeworld. They offered to surrender completely, pay reparations to human families, and submit to any conditions humans demanded. They even offered to help hunt down other dangerous species in the galaxy. Admiral Rodriguez's response was broadcast across both human and alien space. The Vorthak had their chance for mercy when they were hunting our children. They chose cruelty instead. Now they will face the consequences of that choice. There will be no surrender. There will be no peace. There will only be extinction. The final assault on the Vorthak homeworld would begin within days. General Williams spent her time preparing for the largest military operation in human history. Soon, the species that had terrorized humanity would exist only in historical records. But first, she wanted to send one final message to any aliens who might be watching the war from a distance. Humanity was no longer prey. Any species that threatened human beings would face the same fate as the Vorthak. The hunters had become the hunted, and there would be no escape from human justice. Admiral Marcus Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Earth's Fury as the massive human fleet emerged from hyperspace around Vorthak Prime. 2,000 ships of war surrounded the alien homeworld, carrying the most destructive weapons humanity had ever created. This would be the final battle of the Extinction War. The planet below was beautiful in a terrible way. Purple oceans reflected the light of twin suns, while silver cities stretched across 3 continents. Somewhere down there lived the last 10 million Vorthak in the galaxy. In a few hours, they would all be dead. Admiral, we are receiving multiple surrender signals from the planet's surface, reported Communications Officer Zhang. They are offering complete capitulation and begging for mercy. Rodriguez had heard the same pleas from dozens of other Vorthak worlds. The aliens always surrendered when faced with overwhelming force, just as they had always attacked when their victims were helpless. It was the behavior of natural cowards who only showed courage when they held every advantage. Ignore all surrender signals, Rodriguez ordered. Begin the final bombardment. The first wave of attack consisted of antimatter missiles designed to destroy the planetary defense systems. The Vorthak had surrounded their homeworld with energy shields and weapon platforms, but human technology had advanced far beyond alien capabilities during the war. Brilliant flashes of light erupted across the planet as the defense systems were systematically destroyed. The Vorthak had been powerful when hunting defenseless humans, but their military technology was primitive compared to what humanity had developed in response to their atrocities. Defense grid eliminated. Admiral, reported Weapons Officer Kumar. The planet is defenseless. Rodriguez nodded. Begin Phase 2. Target all major population centers. The second wave of attack used kinetic bombardment weapons that struck with the force of nuclear explosions. Human ships rained destruction on every Vorthak city, turning millions of years of alien civilization into smoking ruins in a matter of hours. Rodriguez watched the destruction through the ship's sensors. Each explosion represented thousands of dead aliens, but he felt no sympathy for them. These creatures had spent decades hunting human children for entertainment. They had turned human suffering into a spectator sport for their entire species. Admiral, we are detecting massive civilian casualties on the planet's surface, reported Medical Officer Peterson. Estimated dead in the first hour, 3 million. Continue the bombardment, Rodriguez replied coldly. Every alien on that planet participated in or benefited from the hunting of humans. There are no innocent civilians down there. This was true. Human intelligence had discovered that watching human hunts was the most popular form of entertainment in Vorthak society. Alien children grew up watching humans being tortured and killed. Alien families gathered together to watch live broadcasts of human suffering. The entire species was complicit in genocide. As the bombardment continued, Rodriguez thought about Dr. Sarah Chen. Her courage and sacrifice had made this moment possible. She had been a simple scientist who wanted to study plants, but she had become the catalyst for humanity's greatest military victory. Sarah's message had arrived at Earth almost 2 years ago. In that time, humanity had transformed from prey into predator. Human military technology had advanced by decades. Human tactics had evolved to counter every alien advantage. Most importantly, human resolve had been forged into an unbreakable determination to eliminate the Vorthak completely. Phase 2 complete. Admiral, reported Kumar. All major cities have been destroyed. Estimated remaining population, 2 million. Rodriguez nodded. Begin Phase 3. Deploy the atmospheric incinerators. The third wave of attack was designed to ensure that no Vorthak could survive by hiding in underground shelters or remote locations. Human ships released clouds of nanobots programmed to consume the planet's atmosphere and replace it with poison gas. This was the most controversial weapon humanity had developed during the war. Many scientists had argued that atmospheric incinerators were too dangerous and could potentially be used against human worlds in future conflicts. But Rodriguez had insisted on their deployment against the Vorthak homeworld. The incinerators will take 6 hours to fully deploy, reported Science Officer Park. After that, nothing larger than a microbe will be able to survive on the planet's surface. Rodriguez settled back in his command chair to wait. Around him, the bridge crew continued monitoring the destruction of the Vorthak homeworld. There was no celebration, no cheering. Everyone understood the magnitude of what they were doing. They were committing genocide against an entire species. It was the most extreme action in human history. But it was also necessary. The Vorthak had proven that they could not coexist peacefully with other intelligent life. They were natural predators who would always seek new prey to hunt and kill. During the 6-hour deployment period, Rodriguez received reports from other human fleets throughout the galaxy. The last Vorthak outposts were being eliminated simultaneously. Mining stations, research facilities, prison colonies. Every location where aliens might be hiding was being sterilized completely. Admiral, we are receiving a personal message addressed to you from the planet's surface, reported Zhang. It appears to be from the Vorthak High Council. Rodriguez considered ignoring the message, but decided he wanted to hear what the aliens had to say in their final moments. Put it on the main screen. The face that appeared was clearly Vorthak, but it looked different from the hunters that humans had been fighting. This alien was old and frail, with silver markings around its large eyes. It spoke in heavily accented English. Admiral Rodriguez, I am Vorthak Prime Council Leader Zarak. I know that you will not spare my people, and I understand why. We have committed terrible crimes against your species and others. But before we die, I want you to know that not all of us supported the hunting operations. Rodriguez almost laughed at the alien's words. This was the same excuse that war criminals had used throughout human history. Everyone claimed to be innocent when facing justice for their crimes. Some of us tried to stop the hunting, the alien continued. We argued that it was morally wrong to kill intelligent beings for entertainment. But we were outnumbered by those who enjoyed watching your people suffer. I am sorry for what my species has done. The message ended abruptly as another explosion rocked the planet's surface. Rodriguez wondered if the alien leader was telling the truth or simply trying to gain sympathy in his final moments. It did not matter. Even if some Vorthak had opposed the hunting, they had not done enough to stop it. Atmospheric deployment complete, Admiral, reported Park. The planet's atmosphere is now toxic to all Vorthak life forms. Estimated time until complete extinction, 24 hours. Rodriguez nodded. Begin Phase 4. Planetary sterilization. The final phase involved the deployment of planet cracker weapons that would literally tear the Vorthak homeworld apart. Rodriguez wanted to ensure that nothing remained of the alien civilization. No monuments, no buildings, no records of their culture. Nothing that could inspire future species to follow their example. As the planet crackers began their work, Rodriguez thought about the broader implications of the Extinction War. Humanity had proven that it could defend itself against any threat, no matter how powerful. But the war had also changed human nature in ways that might never be reversed. Human soldiers had learned to kill without mercy. Human scientists had developed weapons of unimaginable destruction. Human leaders had authorized genocide as a tool of foreign policy. The species that emerged from this war would be very different from the one that had entered it. Admiral, the planet is beginning to break apart, reported Kumar. Core destabilization will be complete within 2 hours. Rodriguez watched as the Vorthak homeworld slowly cracked like an egg. Massive pieces of the planet's crust separated and drifted apart, revealing the molten core beneath. Soon there would be nothing left but an asteroid field. As the planet died, Rodriguez recorded a message that would be broadcast throughout human space and transmitted to any alien civilizations that might be listening. The message was simple but clear. This is Admiral Marcus Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force. The Vorthak species has been eliminated completely in response to their systematic hunting and murder of human beings. Let this serve as a warning to any other species that might consider threatening humanity. We will defend ourselves with any means necessary, including the complete destruction of enemy civilizations. Humanity is no longer prey. The destruction of Vorthak Prime took 18 hours from start to finish. When it was over, nothing remained but floating debris and cosmic dust. The species that had terrorized humans across the galaxy had been erased from existence. Rodriguez ordered the construction of a monument in the new asteroid field. It was a simple metal plaque bearing the names of every human who had been killed by the Vorthak. Starting with Dr. Sarah Chen, the monument would serve as a warning to any future enemies and a memorial to those who had died. As the human fleet prepared to return to Earth, Rodriguez reflected on what had been accomplished. Justice had been served for hundreds of thousands of murdered humans. The galaxy was safer with the Vorthak eliminated, but the cost of victory had been enormous.